Welcome to the first 10 entities of the Backrooms Explained. I plan to make this a video series where I explain all of the entities of the Backrooms, which, as of writing the script, is sitting just under 1,000 entities. This intro is more than long enough, so with all this said, let's embrace yourself in the mono-yellow walls and the fluorescent lights of the Backrooms, learn about the first 10 of its monstrous inhabitants. First up on our list are these strange entities known as humans. They are described as intelligent, nearly hairless bipedal apes and are the most intelligent being across the Backrooms. It's also stated that they are very social creatures who show great problem-solving capabilities and rapid learning. They also show a desire to learn, which leads them to develop several things, including technologies, the sciences, religion, and cultures within their social structures. These beings are stated as coming from an alternate universe, and due to having no natural predators in that environment, they thrived. Also, with the rift between their universes, the Backrooms began to organize itself and its levels in a way to replicate their universe. These entities also have very different behaviors and personalities, but have very common thought processes. Interestingly, a large majority of them have highly sociable mannerisms, a desire to speak out the unknown, and the need to populate potentially dangerous areas. And while many of them perish during the population stage, they write down what happens, which leads to further increase their chance of survival. A majority of these entities cluster on level 4, 11, 29, 186, and 737. It is theorized that these levels are chosen because of their similarity to their home reality. Interestingly, groups formed between these beings follow a very similar cycle. They start small with strict guidelines, but as they grow, the rules become more relaxed before it no longer resembles what it once was. And during that point is when the group collapses with fights and in some cases causes the group to dissolve completely. With that being said, let's look at an entity that lurks in a human-made object in the backroom that the Backroom is replicated. Let's talk about the windows. These entities are the physical manifestation of a predatory thought space composed of sustained cognitive thought. These beings can manifest on any surface but tend to follow rudimentary architectural rules in regard to location. They tend to prefer walls and pre-existing windows. However, these beings can create their own window as a living space and design it in a way where it conforms to the level. There is a downside to them creating their own window. They're stuck there until they reach a dying state. Interestingly, the windows themselves show a different blurred landscape to each wanderer, but the wanderers have claimed that they feel a feeling of familiarity with the location. There's a theory that this aspect of the entity is a form of visual hallucination. There are two different states that these entities can appear in. First off, we have the occupied windows. These beings look like an indistinct humanoid silhouette behind the glass. Wanderers who have survived a window attack claim that they share an appearance with one or more people that they know. It is, however, believed that this is merely the perception of the witness, since all photos of them show a silhouette, with few identifiable features. Newly formed occupied windows have been reported to have a similar body shape and height to the individual who entered their level. However, it is still unknown if the silhouette has a physical body, but it is likely that the silhouette is just a visual aspect of the entity. The silhouettes will slowly fade over time, which will cause them to become unrecognizable. However, some of them gain visual density after consuming a sentient victim, which has led to the theory that these entities can only maintain physical permanence by acquiring new victims. Next up are the vacant windows, which exist in two states and are incredibly dangerous. If you believe that you encountered a vacant window, you are told to repeat the following phrase in your mind as you leave the area. I am here, and there is nothing I would do to change that. I am content with my existence and my place within reality. There is no way out, and I accept that. Now, let's talk about these sub-variants. First off is the newborn windows. These beings tend to appear for a wanderer when they form a deep desire to remove themselves from the reality of their current situation. This tends to occur during times of emotional instability when they're longing for home or fleeing from a threat. Once this is manifested, the afflicted individual will feel a desire to enter their own thought space. If If you see one, note that it is important to stop and leave the area while reaffirming your existence. If successful, the window will disappear over the course of several hours. There was an experiment done where researcher Jack Locke successfully created a vacant window while conducting research in level 881. He consumed a blend of sympathetic drugs to artificially stimulate his sympathetic nervous system. Looking at a window, thinking of escaping the backrooms. The other variant of the vacant window is dying windows. These beings form when the silhouette within a window is fully dissipates, which will cause the entity to become unstable and cause it to collapse on itself. While in a dying state, the area around it is extremely dangerous, and humans within a 5 to 8 meter radius have a significant chance of being violently displaced from reality. This process can take between several hours to a week after the initiation of the entity to vanish. Due to the rarity, information on dying windows is scarce. Interestingly, windows will attempt to communicate to humans in its presence, both through vocal and hand gestures. Voices can't be heard and are closer to telepathy than human speech. The voices are said to be perceived as comforting whispers in an attempt to get the wanderer to come closer. Once within 2 meters of the entity, it will manifest an arm to pull the victim into the window. Some safety protocols for the entity goes as follows. Avoid areas with excessive windows. Levels lacking walls are a lot safer. Report any windows to the nearest base or outpost, and if deemed necessary, signage should be installed to warn wanderers. Resist taking compulsive actions when observing a window. And if you experience mental disassociation or a desire for it, it is recommended to avoid locations with excessive windows while seeking mental health support from a professional or trusted individual until the feelings subside. While there's no definitive list of where these entities can appear, photos of this entity have been taken in levels 13, 172, and 881. Now let's just transition over to another entity that manifests in the dark. Potentially the most popular entity in this video. Smilers inhabit a majority of levels and are described as being generally hostile, and there have been many confirmed sightings of them. They can be identified by their signature reflective eyes and teeth glowing in the dark. These entities also tend to reside in dark areas such as level 2 and 3. Their home level is known as the Smiling Room. Smilers are attracted to light and will chase anything they see with a light, so distracting it by throwing your light source at it would be extremely effective. These entities only start to attack if you panic and retreat, or if a loud noise is made. If you keep your eye on it and move away slowly, you should be safe. Using a Smiler exterminator will cause the entity to retreat or lose its senses for a long period of time. Biologically speaking, we have no clue what's behind its face. It is rumored to have a physical body which cannot be seen by the human eye. There is also a theory that they have non-human alien-like bodies, with arms and legs bent in unnatural ways, but it's unconfirmed. Here are the do's and don'ts when interacting with a Smiler. Do keep eye contact and walk slowly. Do keep quiet and do not make any loud sounds. Do use a Smiler extermination bottle. Do turn off all sources of light you have equipped. Don't run away panicking unless the Smiler starts to chase. Don't make loud noises. Don't keep your light sources on. While this section is rather short, we can move on to a very common insectoid. These guys inhabit a majority of the levels and are described as giant moths that inhabit the backrooms. The males are mostly harmless if possibly tameable. The females are several times larger, can spit acid, and are entirely hostile. Death moths, like Smilers, are attracted to light, so if you hear them, make sure to put your light source out. Smaller death moths inhabit level 2, 3, and 5, while the larger and more dangerous ones only appear in level 5, which is where their hive is located. Death moths vary in hostility and biology depending on the level you find yourself in. Level 276 is considered the source of the death moths, and is where they are the deadliest and most aggressive. We do not know their lifespans, birth, and death. Some do's and don'ts are: do avoid contact and do not act aggressive. and don't attempt to aggravate the moths or disturb the hives. Another short and simple one. Now let's get into those claustrophobic spaces to meet our new friend. These guys are found on a majority of levels, but most notable on levels 2 and 3. These guys are dangerous bundles of limbs capable of tremendous speed and incredible agility. The preferred habitat in a majority of levels are spaces which are tight in comparison to their size, with the largest recorded specimen being around 3 feet. Clumps seem to be in a constant state of hunger, roaming around in search of prey. Where prey is found, clumps will make their way towards it. Once within 8 feet, clumps will stretch out their longest limb in an attempt to grab it and bring it towards their center to reveal a mouth filled with razor-sharp teeth. From there, the prey will be eaten. However, for unknown reasons, not many are known to attack right away. The clump's body structure affects the way they run. They tend to swipe at the floor in order to move. Once in motion, they exhibit incredible amounts of strength and speed, being very agile in their movements. There have also been reports of eyes and ears being seen emerging from the mass of appendages. As of recently, the clumps have become extremely passive and rare to find. Theory is that their god is gone, but it is still unknown. Also, wanderers wearing wall masks, particularly the Oni masks, seem to intimidate the clumps, causing them to bow or flee. Some do's and don'ts for the clumps go as follows. Do stay silent in their presence and keep at least 8 feet away from them. Do retreat at the sound of multiple people running. Don't go near them at all if one is spotted. Don't try to interact with them. Don't stick around when a clump is moving into one's position. Now let's transition from a bundle of limbs to some elongated ones. These beings are found in a majority of Backrooms levels, but more common in the lower levels. They are a humanoid figure with dark gray skin. They also have long arms, but their skeletal structure is extremely frail. They also lack several prominent features, such as a face or ears. It is also not understood how dullars kill their prey, given they usually run away from threats. With that being said, these entities are hostile. Those beings capture their prey by lurking at the other side of a wall and pull their victims through it. If you notice one without their hunting tactic, they will silently run away. These creatures also seem to dislike almond water and will avoid almond water fountains. Some do's and don'ts include do specifically run to it if you can. This will cause it to flee. Do use almond water on yourself or against them. Don't lose your almond water, and don't be on the opposite wall from a duller. Now let's switch from one frail skeleton to another with our bird friend. Jerry is a small bird with resemblances to the hyacinth macaw. He is mainly found in level 1 and can also be found in level 2 and level 274, which is also referred to as Jerry's home. Wanderers who make physical contact with Jerry without taming him are subject to his indoctrination abilities. Jerry can be tamed using sunflower seeds or almond water. Wanderers who touch Jerry without taming him fall into his cult, where the afflicted individuals will worship him like a god, chanting phrases such as "Jerry is everything," "Jerry is what I live for," and "All hail Jerry." After a few hours, the assimilated will disappear into level 274, where they will remain until they choose to exit and spread the word of Jerry. His followers act like mindless zombies until they reach Jerry's room, where they will regain control of themselves but still worship Jerry like a god. As stated before, Jerry is a macaw. He has blue and white feathers. His diet consists mainly of sunflower seeds and almond water. If you slowly approach Jerry with this food, you can tame him, which will allow you to hold him without being afflicted. After a few days, Jerry will fly away and not assimilate the tamer if contact is made again. He also reportedly has the power to no-clip. Some do's and don'ts for Jerry go as follows. Do steer clear of Jerry if you cannot tame him. Do keep a bottle of almond water or a packet of sunflower seeds if you intend to tame him. Do brace for sudden no-clipping if you manage to escape. Don't approach Jerry without the intention of taming him. Don't speak negatively of Jerry in the presence of his followers. And don't allow yourself to be indoctrinated by Jerry. Let's move from one mangy beast to the next with the hounds. Hounds are dog-like creatures that crawl on all fours and maul anyone that provokes them. They're found on a majority of levels and are described as humanoids with strange biology. Their arms and legs are contorted in a way for them to be a quadruped creature. They also have long black hair growing on their head. Hounds also pack sharp claws and an extremely large mouth with sharp teeth. They're highly aggressive and are made even more aggressive when they see someone in an aggressive state. But they can be intimidated by direct eye contact. They're extremely hostile towards humans, and the eye contact will hold them off for a brief period. If you hear a growling noise, it's safest to stay out of sight of the hound. One of the potential origins for hounds is that they hatch from eggs on level 276. Some do's and don'ts of hounds go as follows. Do keep direct eye contact with hounds if one is approaching. Do stay out of sight if you hear growling. Don't run away from the hounds the second you see one. And don't attempt to tame them. Now let's move on from a quadruped humanoid to a bipedal humanoid. Facings are a humanoid entity that live in a majority of Backrooms levels. These entities both look and behave very similarly to humans, except for the whole lacking facial features part, though they do not appear to actually need internal organs to live or function. They also mimic human practices, roles, and routines, often in a manner which exhibits limited understanding of their purposes in human life. These beings also mirror human population patterns. They predominantly inhabit levels with urban environments and/or significant human populations. Interestingly, facings have existed since ancient times. They've been documented over the ages through ancient artwork, folklore, and written texts. Initial sources describe facings as mindless, yet often benevolent beings. However, individual accounts of facings demonstrating hostility have never been recorded. There are also only a few alleged reports of an adult facing retaliating in self-defense. Like the Windows, facings have multiple variants, 3 to be exact. Let's start with the polygonal facings. These facings do not possess regular human appearances, instead being wildly different from their common counterparts. These guys look similar to the early 3D video game characters. The skin is described as rough, dry, and flaky to the touch. Next up are the shadow facings, and these guys are described as having pitch black spectral bodies. They are found spontaneously levitating within darker regions of the Backrooms. They also seem to be drawn towards sources of light. Compared to the common facings, these beings are much more easily agitated. They are prone to fright and defensive aggression in the presence of people, although they do not appear to possess the strength to cause significant harm. However, they are easily distracted with flashlights and torches, making them easy to evade. Many wanderers have noted their behavior to be similar to Smilers, but no relation between the two entities has been found. Finally, you have the memory facing. These guys are extremely unique. They are exceedingly rare, with under 20 documented and verified reports presently in existence. These variants are said to assume the appearance of loved ones of wanderers who are in close proximity to it. Being a facing, they do lack the facial features. It is theorized that they access a wanderer's memory in order to shift between forms. Other than on the physical level, it is that they also copy the mannerisms and routines of the person they are attempting to mimic. Some interesting tidbits about these creatures are that they have an obsession with human society, but fundamentally lack the understanding of human society. Interestingly, the child facings are reported to be aggressive and unstable during outbursts. This is due to their brain being less developed, which dampens their ability to regulate emotions, and are frequently unable to distinguish right from wrong. When upset, they begin hitting and scratching anyone nearby, and may injure themselves in the process. However, applying traditional techniques to calm human children is effective. Some do's and don'ts of facings go as follows. Do treat facelings kindly and respect their boundaries. Do attempt to communicate with them if you are in need. Most facelings are more than glad to offer quick assistance when they can. Do report any sightings of a new faceling variant. Don't taunt, provoke, or attack them. Don't present yourself as a threat when encountering a faceling. And don't teach offensive words or terms to any faceling. Now let's set our sights on an entity that mimics humans for a very different reason. Scits are large humanoid entities that can wear the skin of their victims as a disguise. In their true form, Scits are tall with pale yellow skin and sunken white eyes. The outer layer of flesh is covered in microscopic bumps similar to the suckers of an octopus tentacle. Those bumps stick to the skin that was torn off a human and push and pull to make it fit. The skin still looks identical to the human. These bumps also pump blood and nutrients into the skin to make it feel warm and alive, as well as prevent decomposition. In addition, it heals the skin, hiding any cuts that may identify a real human. After a period of around 24 hours, the skin will be digested through the surface of the skin stealer, and the skin stealer will enter a docile state. The skin stealer also has the ability to speak, but it cannot understand language. It will repeat what it hears in order to lure and prey, but it can't actually communicate. Although since a typical skin stealer rarely uses their voice, this is not a good way to tell them apart from a real human. They eat human flesh when in a hunger state, and otherwise roam aimlessly if they do not need to eat. Their blood is translucent and they can mimic human speech. They are found in a majority of levels, but are most common in levels 1, 2, and 3. Skin stealers are typically docile creatures and will wander aimlessly if they do not need to feed. In this state, they will not attack you if you don't aggravate them. However, in a hunger state, they will seek out humans wandering alone and will then use their strength to tear them apart. A good way to tell a skin stealer apart from a human is through their blood, since skin stealers, even when disguised, will bleed clear. Some do's and don'ts of skin stealers go as follows. Do walk away slowly and calmly if you see one. Do check anyone you are traveling with for clear blood. Don't trust people that barely speak or say random assortments of words. And don't aggravate this skin stealer in its docile state. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any specific entity you want me to explain, please leave it in the comments below. With all that said, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye bye!